The morning sky over Washington, D.C. was clear and blue when they came. Commander Jack Reynolds stood on the balcony of the Earth Defense Force headquarters, sipping his coffee and enjoying the rare moment of peace. At 45, with gray starting to show in his dark hair, Jack had served in the last of Earth's conflicts before the Great Peace of 2071. 16 years of worldwide cooperation had led to amazing advances in technology and quality of life. "Commander, you need to see this." Lieutenant Tom Miller burst onto the balcony, his face pale. Jack followed him inside to the control room where dozens of screens showed the same thing: massive objects appearing in Earth's orbit. They weren't meteors or space debris. They were ships. "How many?" Jack asked, setting down his coffee mug. 57 so far, sir. And more are appearing." Jack stared at the screens. Humanity had been sending signals into space for over a century, hoping for contact. Now it had come without warning. "Get me the president." Dr. Emma Wilson was in her lab at MIT when the emergency alerts began blaring from every device. At 38, she was the leading expert in xenobiology, a field that had been mostly theoretical until today. "All personnel report to emergency stations. This is not a drill," the announcement repeated. Emma rushed to the window. In the distance, a strange light appeared in the sky above Boston. Her phone rang. "Dr. Wilson," she answered. "Doctor, this is Commander Reynolds of the EDF. We need you in Washington immediately. A military transport is already on its way to you." "What's happening?" "First contact, Doctor, and it doesn't look friendly." The President of the United Earth Alliance stood before the emergency session of the Global Council, her face grim. "Less than 1 hour ago, unknown vessels appeared in orbit. They have not responded to any attempts at communication. Our satellites have been disabled, and we've lost contact with our lunar base." The room erupted in worried murmurs. "The Earth Defense Force is on high alert," she continued. "But I must be honest, we are facing technology far beyond our own." A young aide rushed in and whispered something to the president. Her face went white. "They're broadcasting a message." The main screen lit up, showing a humanoid figure with gray-blue skin and 4 eyes arranged in a diamond pattern. Its voice was translated by the computer into a flat, mechanical tone. "People of Earth, we are the Velara Dominion. Your planet is now under our control. Resistance will result in destruction. You have 1 hour to surrender your governing bodies to Velara authority." The screen went dark. Jack paced the EDF command center. "What are our options?" General Bill Harris, head of the Space Division, shook his head. "Limited, sir. Our orbital platforms are outgunned. Ground-based defenses might take out a few ships, but not 57. "And if we surrender?" Jack asked. "Based on similar situations in history," said Dr. Wilson, who had arrived minutes earlier, "complete subjugation at best, extinction at worst." Jack nodded. "Then we fight." "Sir," called out a sensor operator, "energy spikes from the alien vessels." The room fell silent as everyone watched the monitors. Bright beams shot from the ships toward Earth's surface. "Impact points?" Jack demanded. "Major cities worldwide, sir. New York, London, Beijing, Moscow." The building shook as a distant boom echoed across Washington. The aliens had not waited for Earth's answer. The first day of the invasion was the worst in human history. The Velara strikes hit population centers with deadly accuracy. Billions died in the first hours. The survivors watched in horror as strange ships descended through the smoke-filled skies, landing troops and machines. 3 days after the initial attack, Jack and Emma found themselves in an underground bunker beneath the Rocky Mountains, one of the few EDF facilities still operating. "This is what we know," Jack told the assembled military and civilian leaders. "The Velara are an expansionist species. This isn't their first invasion." Emma stepped forward. "From the data we've gathered, they've conquered at least 12 other worlds. Their tactics are always the same: hit hard, destroy resistance, then establish control." "What do they want?" asked a senator who had escaped the destruction of Washington. "Resources," Emma replied, "particularly water and certain rare minerals. And labor," They use conquered species as workers. Jack pointed to a map showing Velara positions. They control most major cities now, but their numbers aren't unlimited. They rely on fear more than anything. If we can organize resistance. The bunker's communication system crackled to life. A Velara face appeared on screen. I am High Commander Krell of the Velara Dominion. Your resistance is noted and will be punished. Tomorrow we will destroy one city for every day you refuse to surrender. I speak directly to your military leader, Jack Reynolds. We know you survive. Surrender yourself, and fewer humans will die. The transmission ended. They know who you are, Emma said quietly. Jack's jaw tightened. Good. Then they know who to fear. 1 week after the initial attack, Jack led a small team into the ruins of Denver. The city was under Velara control, with alien patrols moving through the streets and strange flying machines monitoring from above. Stay low, Jack whispered to his team of 6 soldiers and Emma. We need to reach the lab. Denver University's Advanced Physics Lab held equipment Emma believed could be vital for understanding Velara technology. They moved through the shadows of destroyed buildings, avoiding Velara patrols. Twice they had to hide as flying drones passed overhead. Their pattern recognition software isn't designed for Earth, Emma whispered as they crouched behind a collapsed wall. They're looking for movement, but they don't understand how humans hide. At the university, most buildings were damaged, but the science complex remained partially intact. The team slipped inside, using night vision to navigate the dark hallways. Here, Emma said, stopping at a reinforced door. The quantum lab. Inside, they found what they were looking for, advanced scanning equipment that might help understand Velara technology. As they gathered the equipment, a sound from outside froze them in place. Patrol, whispered Tom, who was watching the end window. Through the broken glass, they saw 3 Velara soldiers walking toward the building. Each stood 7 feet tall, wearing armor that seemed to shift colors in the moonlight. They carried weapons unlike anything humans had seen before, living metal that moved and adjusted in their 4-fingered hands. If they find us, they'll call for backup, Jack said quietly. We need to take them out silently. The team moved into position. Jack gave the signal, and they struck with practiced precision. The fight was brief but intense. The Velara were stronger than humans, but Jack's team had the element of surprise. Within minutes, the aliens lay dead, and the humans had 3 Velara weapons. Let's move, Jack ordered. More will come soon. As they escaped into the night, carrying the lab equipment and alien weapons, Jack looked back at the ruined city. Anger burned inside him, but also determination. They hit us first, he said quietly. They won't get the chance to hit anyone else. Emma nodded beside him. We'll make sure of it. The small group of humans disappeared into the shadows, carrying the seeds of what would become humanity's greatest fight, and ultimately its greatest victory. 6 months after the Velara attack, Earth was a changed planet. Cities lay in ruins, billions were dead, and the alien invaders controlled most of the world's resources. But humans were far from defeated. In the mountains of what was once called Colorado, the Resistance had built its main base. Hidden deep underground, protected by natural caves and human ingenuity, it served as the headquarters for the fight against the Velara. Jack Reynolds stood before a map table, studying the positions of known Velara outposts. His face was thinner, now with a scar running along his jaw from a close encounter with a Velara patrol. Report, he said as Emma Wilson entered the room. Emma looked tired, but excited. Her lab coat was stained and torn in places, a sign of the limited resources they worked with. We've made a breakthrough, she said. The Velara weapons we captured, we finally understand how they work. Jack looked up with interest. Can we make our own? Not yet, but we can disable theirs. Emma placed a small device on the table. The Velara weapons are linked to their biology. That's why we couldn't use them, but it also gives us an advantage. How so? They respond to specific frequencies, like a remote control. With this device, we can shut them down within a 100-meter radius. For the first time in months, Jack smiled. That changes everything. Good work, Doctor. Tom Miller, now Jack's second in command, entered the room. Sir, our scouts have returned from Denver. The Velara are building something big. Some kind of tower. Communications center, most likely, Jack said. They're still trying to contact their home fleet for reinforcements. Then we need to destroy it, Tom said. Jack nodded. And now we have the means to do it. The human resistance had grown stronger each month. Small groups operated in every region, sharing information through an underground network. The Velara, expecting humans to give up, were unprepared for their determination. High Commander Krell paced in his command center, built in the ruins of the former human capital. His 4 eyes blinked in sequence, a sign of stress in Velara. Another supply depot attacked. He growled to his officers. That's the 5th this month. How are these primitives doing this? They hide among the ruins, said his second in command. They strike quickly and disappear. They should have surrendered by now. Krell slammed his 4-fingered hand on the control panel. No species has resisted us this long. Double the patrols. Kill any human found outside the work camps. In the shadows outside the window, a small drone hovered silently, broadcasting every word back to the resistance. 2 weeks later, Jack led a team of 20 fighters toward Denver. They moved at night, using the cover of a storm to mask their approach. Each carried Emma's new device along with conventional weapons. Remember, the devices have a limited range, Jack told them. Get close before activating them. The Denver outpost was heavily guarded. 20 Velara soldiers patrolled the perimeter of the massive tower that now dominated the city center. Strange energy pulsed from its top, reaching into the sky. They're nearly ready to call for reinforcements, Emma whispered. She had insisted on coming despite Jack's objections. If that signal reaches their homeworld, we'll face 10 times as many Velara. Then we make sure it doesn't, Jack replied. He gave hand signals to his team and they split into 4 groups, each approaching the tower from a different direction. Jack, Emma, and 3 others took the most dangerous route, directly through the front checkpoint. They wore cloaks made from Velara armor pieces, designed to confuse the aliens' heat sensors. As they approached the checkpoint, Emma activated her device. The effect was immediate. The 2 Velara guards looked down in confusion as their weapons went dead in their hands. Before they could raise an alarm, Jack's team struck. The fight was silent and quick. Inside now, Jack ordered. They entered the tower, moving quickly through its strange corridors. The architecture was alien, with curves and angles that made no sense to human eyes. They passed several Velara who looked at them with surprise before being taken down. The main control room should be at the top, Emma said, consulting a small scanner she had built from salvaged Velara technology. As they climbed, alarms began to sound. They know we're here, Jack said. Move faster. At the top level, they found a large circular room filled with Velara technology. Through the windows, they could see the whole ruined city spread out below them. 5 Velara technicians worked at control panels. Jack nodded to his team. They activated their devices together, and all Velara weapons in the room went dead. The aliens turned in shock as the humans burst in. The fight was brief, but violent. When it ended, Jack's team controlled the room, though 2 of their members were badly wounded. How much time do we need? Jack asked Emma, who was already working at the main control panel. 10 minutes to download their data, 5 more to set the charges, she replied, her fingers moving quickly over the alien controls. Their entire database is here. Maps of all their outposts on Earth, technical specifications of their weapons, everything. Jack nodded and turned to his radio. All teams report. The replies came in. All teams had secured their areas. The tower was under human control. As Emma worked, Jack looked out at the ruined city. In the distance, he could see movement. More Velara forces responding to the alarm. We have company coming, he said. Hurry. Emma didn't look up from her work. Almost done with the download. Then I'll plant the charges. Jack watched as she copied the Velara database into a small device she had built. When it was complete, she moved quickly around the room, placing explosive charges at key points. There's something else here, she said suddenly, her eyes wide as she looked at the control panel. Their communications log. They've been sending reports back to their home world. Can you read it? Yes, and Jack, this isn't their first invasion. They've conquered 12 other worlds before Earth. Jack's face darkened. Then those worlds need freedom too. Emma nodded. The charges are set. We have 5 minutes. Jack called to his team. Time to go. Bring the wounded. They moved quickly, down through the tower, fighting their way past Velara reinforcements that had entered the building. Outside, chaos had erupted as the other human teams engaged the Velara forces. Everyone out, now, Jack shouted into his radio. The human fighters broke away from the battle, retreating through pre-planned escape routes. The Velara, confused by their sudden withdrawal, hesitated to follow. From a hillside a mile away, Jack, Emma, and the surviving members of their team watched as the tower exploded. The blast lit up the night sky and the tower collapsed in on itself. That should set them back months, Jack said with grim satisfaction. Emma held up the small device containing the stolen data, and this will help us hit them even harder next time. As they made their way back to their hidden base, Jack felt something he hadn't felt in months. Hope. The Velara were strong, but humanity was learning, adapting, and fighting back. They hit us first, Jack said quietly, but we're just getting started. 1 year had passed since the Velara attacked Earth. In that time, humanity had gone from helpless victims to determined fighters. The Resistance now operated on every continent, sharing information through a hidden network of old radio systems the Velara couldn't track. In the main Resistance base, Jack Reynolds stood before the largest gathering of Resistance leaders ever assembled. 30 men and women from around the world had risked everything to travel here. Thanks to Dr. Wilson and her team, Jack began, we now understand Velara technology better than they ever expected we could. Emma stepped forward. The past year had changed her too. The scientist was now also a fighter with the same determined look in her eyes as the soldiers around her. The data we captured from the Denver Tower gave us everything, she said. Their weapons, their ships, their communications, we've been studying it all, and we've made 2 major breakthroughs. She pressed a button, and a 3D map appeared, showing Earth and the Velara ships still in orbit. First, we've created a virus that can infect their control systems. Once uploaded to their main network, it will disable their orbital weapons. Murmurs of approval spread through the room. Second, Emma continued, we've discovered their greatest weakness. Everyone leaned forward. The Velara have an extremely sensitive hearing range. Certain sound frequencies cause them intense pain, even unconsciousness. We've developed sonic weapons that can incapacitate them without harming humans. Jack stepped forward again. Which brings us to our plan. It's time to take back our planet. High Commander Krell was furious. For months, the human resistance had been growing bolder. Supply lines were disrupted, outposts were attacked, and now 3 Velara ships had been sabotaged while on the ground. These humans are not like the others we've conquered, he growled to his officers. We should have wiped them out completely from orbit. The resources would have been damaged, his second-in-command reminded him. Resources can be found elsewhere. Krell slammed his fist down. Send word to the mothership, I want all human resistance cells bombed from orbit, no more prisoners, no more work camps, just elimination. That night, a small team of humans approached the main Velara base in what was once Washington, D.C. Jack and Emma led 10 of their best fighters, each carrying the new sonic weapons and wearing uniforms made from modified Velara armor. Remember, we need to reach the central computer, Jack reminded them. Everything depends on uploading the virus. Emma checked the small device in her hand one last time. Months of work had gone into creating the virus that would disable the Velara orbital platforms. They reached the outer perimeter of the base. 2 Velara guards stood at the entrance, their weapons ready. Now, Jack whispered. 2 of his team activated small devices. The sounds they emitted were barely noticeable to human ears, but the effect on the Velara was immediate. The guards clutched their heads in pain, dropping to their knees. Move in, Jack ordered. The team rushed forward, stunning the guards with conventional weapons. They dragged the unconscious Velara into the shadows and took their positions. Tom, you and your team create a distraction on the east side in 5 minutes, Jack said into his radio. We'll use the confusion to reach the central computer. Understood, came Tom's reply. Jack, Emma, and 3 others entered the base, moving quickly. Through the alien corridors, they encountered few Velara. Most were at their stations or resting in their quarters. The main control room should be 2 levels up, Emma whispered, checking a small scanner. As they climbed the stairs, a loud explosion rocked the building. Tom's distraction had begun. Alarms blared throughout the base. The sounds of running feet and shouted Velara commands filled the air. Perfect, Jack said. Most of their forces will head to the explosion. They reached the upper level and found the entrance to the control room. 4 Velara stood guard, looking alert and ready. Sonic, weapons, Jack ordered. The team activated their devices. The guards immediately grabbed at their heads, their 4 eyes squeezing shut in pain. Within seconds, they collapsed. Inside, quickly, Jack said. The control room was larger than they expected. A dozen Velara technicians worked at various stations, with a massive central computer dominating the room. When the humans burst in, the aliens reached for weapons. Now, Jack shouted. Emma turned up her sonic device to maximum. The effect was devastating. Every Velara in the room fell to the floor, some unconscious, others writhing in pain. Cover the door, Jack ordered 2 of his team while Emma rushed to the central computer. She connected her device and began uploading the virus. This will take 2 minutes, she said, her fingers flying over the alien controls. Jack kept his weapon trained on the fallen Velara. Hurry. We won't have much time before reinforcements arrive. As Emma worked, Jack's radio crackled. Sir, came Tom's voice, we've got trouble. Krell himself is here, with at least 30 soldiers. Hold them off as long as you can, Jack replied. We're almost done. The sounds of battle echoed through the base. Tom's team was fighting hard, but they were outnumbered. Upload complete, Emma announced. The virus is in their system. On the main screen above them, they could see the status of the Velara orbital platforms. One by one, the lights representing their weapon systems began to turn from green to red. It's working, Emma said, a smile spreading across her face. Their orbital weapons are shutting down. Jack nodded. Now for Phase 2, signal all resistance, cells worldwide. The counterattack begins now. Emma activated a hidden transmitter in her pack, sending a coded message to resistance groups around the world. At that moment, in every major city and Velara outpost, human fighters launched coordinated attacks. Time to go, Jack said. We need to reach the shuttle bay. They left the control room, rushing through corridors now filled with confused and panicking Velara. Some tried to stop them, only to be incapacitated by the sonic weapons. This way, Emma said, consulting her scanner. The shuttle bay is 1 level down. As they turned a corner, they came face to face with High Commander Krell and 10 of his soldiers. The Velara leader's 4 eyes widened in recognition. Reynolds, he hissed. Krell, Jack replied calmly, raising his sonic device. But Krell was prepared. He and his soldiers wore what looked like modified helmets covering their hearing organs. Did you think we wouldn't adapt? Krell said, raising his weapon. You humans always underestimate us. No, Jack said with a smile. You've always underestimated us. He fired his weapon not at Krell but at the ceiling above him. The blast brought down a section of the roof separating Krell from half his soldiers. Run! Jack shouted to his team. They sprinted down a side corridor, hearing Krell's angry shouts. Behind them, 2 of Krell's soldiers managed to follow, firing their weapons. One blast hit a member of Jack's team, who fell with a cry of pain. Leave no one behind, Jack ordered, turning to fire back as another team member helped the wounded fighter. They reached the shuttle bay to find it in chaos. Velara were rushing to their ships, some to join the fight, others trying to escape. The now vulnerable base. There, Emma pointed to a small Velara shuttle. That one's perfect. They fought their way across the bay, using both sonic weapons and captured Velara guns. When they reached the shuttle, Emma quickly bypassed the security system, opening the door. Everyone inside, Jack ordered. As his team boarded, Jack looked back across the bay. Krell had arrived, his face twisted with fury as he spotted Jack. Jack gave the Velara commander a mocking salute before jumping into the shuttle. Emma was already at the controls, activating the engines. "Can you fly this thing?" Jack asked. "I've spent a year studying their technology," Emma replied. "Watch me." The shuttle lifted off, its weapons firing at the bay doors to force them open. As they shot out into the night sky, Jack looked down at the Velara base. Fires had broken out in several places, and the sounds of battle echoed across the ruins of Washington. "It's happening everywhere," Emma said, checking the shuttle's communication system. "All resistance cells are attacking. We've taken back Sao Paulo and Berlin already." Jack nodded, allowing himself a moment of hope. "Their orbital weapons are disabled. Their communication with their homeworld is cut off. For the first time, we're fighting on equal terms." "No," Emma said, looking at him with fire in her eyes. "We're going to do better than that. We have their shuttle technology now. Jack, we can take the fight to them." Jack's eyes widened as he understood what she was suggesting. "Their homeworld?" Emma nodded. "They hit Earth first. Let's make sure they never fight a war again." 3 months after the Great Counterattack, humanity had reclaimed most of Earth. The remaining Velara forces were scattered and cut off from their command structure. Without their orbital weapons, they were forced to fight on the ground, a day battle they were losing. At the former Velara base in Washington, D.C., now the headquarters of the Earth Defense Force, Jack Reynolds studied the captured alien star charts displayed on a large screen. "Veltharia," he said, pointing to a bright star system. "The Velara homeworld." Around the table stood the leaders of the resistance, now called the United Earth Forces. Emma Wilson stood at Jack's right hand, while Tom Miller and others from around the world completed the circle. "Are you sure about this?" asked General Maria Lopez, commander of the South American forces. "Attacking their homeworld is a massive escalation." Jack nodded. "They came to our world, they killed billions. If we don't stop them at their source, they'll be back with an even larger force." "The technology is ready," Emma added. "From the Velara shuttles and ships we've captured, we've built 5 warships capable of reaching Velthara." "5 ships against an entire world?" asked Tom, doubt in his voice. Emma smiled. "We don't need a huge fleet. We have something better." She held up a small device. "An improved version of our sonic weapon. This one can affect the entire Velara species at once, broadcast through their own communication network. It won't kill them," Jack explained. "But it will incapacitate them long enough for us to take control." "And the 12 other worlds they conquered?" asked a resistance leader from Asia. "We free them too," Jack said simply. "We end the Velara threat forever, not through genocide but through control and rehabilitation." The room fell silent as everyone considered the plan. Finally, General Lopez spoke. "When do we leave?" "The 5 Earth warships, built from captured Velara technology, prepared for launch. Each ship carried a crew of 20 humans, all veterans of the resistance. The largest ship, named Terra, would be commanded by Jack himself, with Emma on board to control the sonic weapon." The launch site was in the Arizona desert, hidden from any remaining Velara scouts. Crowds of people had gathered to watch, cheering as the ships rose into the air one by one. Inside the Terra, Jack strapped himself into the command chair. Around him, his crew worked at their stations, still getting used to the alien technology. "All systems operational," reported Tom, who served as Jack's second in command. "The other ships report ready." "Dr. Wilson, status of the weapon?" Jack asked. Emma looked up from her console. "Fully charged and tested. It will work, Jack." Jack nodded and opened a channel to all ships. "This is Commander Reynolds. Today we take the fight to the enemy that thought they could conquer Earth. We go not for revenge but for justice, not just for humanity, but for all species the Velara have oppressed." He paused, looking at the faces of his crew. "They hit Earth first. We will make sure they never fight a war again." A cheer went up across all 5 ships. Jack turned to his pilot. "Take us up." The ships rose higher, breaking through the atmosphere into the blackness of space. The blue curve of Earth shrank below them. "FTL drives ready," reported the engineer. Jack took a deep breath. "Engage." The stars blurred as the ships accelerated to faster than light speed, using the Velara technology that Emma and her team had mastered. They were the first humans to leave the solar system, traveling farther than any person had gone before. The journey to Velara would take 2 weeks. During that time, the crews trained and prepared for every possible scenario. Emma worked constantly, fine-tuning the sonic weapon to ensure it would work through the Velara communication network. "We'll only get one chance," she told Jack during a quiet moment on the bridge. "Once they know what we're doing, they'll shut down their network." "Then we make it count," Jack replied. 2 weeks later, the small human fleet dropped out of FTL on the edge of the Velara system. Immediately, their sensors detected dozens of Velara ships patrolling the area. "They haven't spotted us yet," Tom reported. "Our modified shields are working. They're hiding our energy signature." On the main screen, they could see Velara itself, a blue-green world larger than Earth with 3 small moons. "Their central command is located here," Emma said, highlighting a spot on the planet's largest continent. "That's where we need to get to upload the sonic weapon to their network." Jack studied the tactical display. "Their orbital defenses are stronger than Earth's were. We can't fight our way through." "We don't have to," Emma replied. "I've been studying their identification codes. We can make our ships appear to be returning Velara vessels." "Will that work?" Tom asked. "The Velara are arrogant," Emma said. "They never expected anyone to capture their ships and use them to reach their homeworld. Their security is designed to keep other species out, not their own kind." Jack nodded. "Do it." Emma entered a series of commands, transmitting false identification codes to their ships. On the tactical display, the Velara patrol vessels continued their routes, not reacting to the human ships. "It's working," Tom said quietly. "They think we're Velara." "Take us in," Jack ordered. "Maintain formation and follow the usual Velara approach vectors." The 5 ships moved toward Velara, following the standard flight paths used by Velara vessels. As they approached the planet, they received automated landing instructions from the surface. "They're directing us to the main military spaceport," Emma reported. "Right where we want to go." Jack opened a channel to the other ships. "This is it. Once we land, we'll have minutes at most before they realize we're not Velara. Blue team, secure the landing area. Red team, with me and Dr. Wilson to the central command. Green team, hold the ships and prepare for emergency departure." The Terra led the way, descending through Velthara's atmosphere. Through the viewports, they could see the alien landscape below, strange purple-leaved forests and gleaming cities. "It's beautiful," someone whispered. "So was Earth," Jack replied grimly. The ships landed at the massive spaceport. Outside Velara, ground crews approached, expecting to greet their own kind. "Now," Jack ordered. The ship's doors opened, and human soldiers rushed out, armed with sonic weapons. The Velara ground crews collapsed immediately, their 4 eyes wide, with shock and pain. "Move fast," Jack commanded. "We have 10 minutes at most before they sound a general alarm." Jack led his team toward the central command building, a tall structure in the center of the spaceport. Emma ran beside him, carrying the device that would connect to the Velara network. They met resistance as they entered the building. Velara security forces armed and ready, but the sonic weapons gave the humans an overwhelming advantage. The Velara fell, clutching their heads in agony. "This way," Emma said, following the map they had extracted from captured Velara computers. They fought their way to the central communication room. Velara technicians tried to stop them, but to no avail. Within minutes, the room was secure. "How long?" Jack asked as Emma connected her device to the main console. 3 minutes to upload, 2 more for it to spread through their entire network, she replied, her fingers moving rapidly over the alien controls. Jack turned to his radio. "All teams report." The responses came back. All positions secure, but Velara reinforcements were on the way. "Hurry," Jack told Emma. "Upload complete," she announced. Now we wait for it to propagate. On the large screens around the room, they could see views of Velara cities. Suddenly, Velari everywhere began to drop to the ground, incapacitated by the sonic frequencies now broadcasting through every speaker and communication device on the planet. "It's working," Emma said with a smile of satisfaction. Jack opened a channel that would broadcast to all Velari communication devices. His voice would be heard by every Velari on the planet who was still conscious. "People of Velara, I am Commander Jack Reynolds of Earth. Your forces attacked our world without provocation, killing billions of our people. Today, we have brought the war to your doorstep." He paused, looking at Emma, who nodded encouragingly. "But we are not like you. We do not seek to conquer or destroy. We demand the immediate surrender of all Velari forces, the release of all conquered species, and the dismantling of your war fleet. Comply, and your people will live. Resist, and we will be forced to take more drastic measures." As Jack spoke, Tom rushed into the room. "Sir, we've got the entire planet under control. The sonic weapon worked better than we expected. Nearly every Velari is incapacitated." Jack nodded. "And the other ships in the system?" "Adrift. Their crews are affected, too. It's a complete victory." For the first time in nearly 2 years, Jack felt the weight on his shoulders lighten. He looked at Emma, whose eyes shone with tears of relief and triumph. "We did it," she whispered. "We really did it." Jack turned back to the broadcast. "To the conquered peoples of the 12 worlds under Velari control, help is coming. Your long nightmare is over." He switched off the broadcast and turned to his team. "Secure the planet. Prepare for the arrival of the Earth fleet." "Earth fleet?" Tom asked, confused. "What Earth fleet?" Jack smiled. "The one we're going to build using Velari shipyards. It's time to free those other worlds." As they walked back to their ships, Jack looked up at the alien sky. The war wasn't over. There were still 12 worlds to free and a Velari society to reform. But the biggest step had been taken. They had hit Earth first. Humans had made sure they would never fight a war again. 1 year after the capture of Velara, a new era had begun. The massive Velari shipyards, once used to build weapons of conquest, now produced vessels of peace and exploration. Under human guidance, the Velari war machine had been transformed. Jack Reynolds stood on the observation deck of the Unity, the largest ship ever built in the Velari shipyards. At 51, his hair was now more gray than black, but his eyes still held the same determination they had when the invasion began, 3 years ago. "Beautiful, isn't it?" Emma Wilson joined him at the viewport. She had changed too, more confident now, with the bearing of someone who had helped reshape the destiny of not just one world, but many. "Hard to believe what we've accomplished," Jack agreed, looking out at the fleet gathered around them. 50 ships crewed by humans and representatives from all 12 formerly conquered species. "The Liberation Fleet is ready," Tom Miller reported, entering the observation deck. "Final checks complete. We launch in 2 hours." Jack nodded. The last world. After this, all species conquered by the Velari will be free. Over the past year, the joint human-alien fleet had traveled to each of the 12 worlds the Velari had conquered, freeing them from Velari control. Some had been under alien rule for decades, their people forced to work in mines or factories. But there was one world left, Rantara, the most distant of the Velari conquests. "How are our Velari crew members?" Jack asked. "Adapting well," Emma replied. "The rehabilitation program is working better than expected. Those who have accepted that their conquering days are over are proving to be valuable allies." After capturing Velara, humans had established a program to rehabilitate the Velari society. Those who rejected violence were allowed to join the new fleet as support staff, under careful supervision. It was a controversial decision, but Jack had insisted. "We didn't come here for revenge," he had said. "We came to end war." Now, as they prepared for their final liberation mission, Jack felt a sense of completion. The emergency communication system chimed, interrupting his thoughts. "Commander Reynolds," came a voice. "You're needed in the diplomatic hall." The representatives have arrived. The diplomatic hall of the Unity was filled with beings from across the galaxy. Representatives of all 12 liberated worlds had gathered, along with human leaders and even reformed Velari. It was the first meeting of what would become the Galactic Peace Council. Jack entered the hall with Emma and Tom beside him. The diverse assembly fell silent. "Commander Reynolds," greeted Nari, a tall, blue-skinned being from Lorath, the first world they had liberated. "We are ready to begin." Jack took his place at the circular table. There were no head positions, no places of honor. All representatives sat as equals. 3 years ago, Jack began, the Velari attacked Earth without warning. They killed billions of my people thinking we would surrender quickly, as others had before us. He looked around the table, meeting the eyes of each representative. They were wrong. Humanity fought back. Not just for ourselves, but eventually for all peoples oppressed by the Velari. Today, as we prepare to liberate the final world under their control, we also lay the foundation for a new order, one where no species will ever again suffer as we have. Nari spoke next. The people of Lorath were conquered 20 years ago. We had forgotten what freedom felt like until humans came. We owe you a debt we can never repay. No debts, Jack replied firmly. Only a shared commitment to ensure this never happens again. One by one, representatives from each world spoke, sharing stories of Velari conquest and the joy of liberation. Even a Velari representative, one who had opposed the conquests from the beginning, spoke of his hope for his people's redemption. The proposed Galactic Peace Council will have 3 main purposes, Emma explained, displaying the charter on large screens around the room. First, mutual defense. An attack on any member world will be considered an attack on all. Second, cultural and scientific exchange to benefit all species. Third, rehabilitation and monitoring of the Velari to ensure they never again become a threat. The discussion continued for hours, refining the details of the agreement. Finally, as the meeting concluded, Jack called for a vote. Those in favor of establishing the Galactic Peace Council under these terms, please indicate. One by one, each representative signaled their approval. The charter was adopted unanimously. "Then it is done," Jack said. "After we liberate Rantara, the council will officially begin its work." As the representatives filed out, Emma stayed beside Jack. "You look tired," she said quietly. "It's been a long 3 years," he admitted. "What will you do after Rantara? The war will be over." Jack looked out the viewport at the stars. "I'm not sure. I've been a soldier most of my life. I don't know if I remember how to be anything else." "You could stay on as Earth's representative to the Council," she suggested, "or come with me. The Velari databases contain star charts for thousands of unexplored systems. We could lead the first true exploration missions." Before Jack could answer, Tom rushed back into the room. "Sir, we've received a transmission from our advanced scouts at Rantara. You need to see this." The command center of the Unity buzzed with activity as Jack, Emma, and Tom entered. On the main screen was an image of Rantara, a small rocky world that should have been covered with Velari mining operations. Instead, there was nothing. No Velari bases, no ships in orbit. "What am I looking at?" Jack asked. "Rantara is abandoned," the communications officer explained. "The Velari pulled out 3 months ago, according to the locals. They just left." "The sonic weapon," Emma said in realization. "When we broadcast it through their network, it reached their forces on all worlds. They must have retreated. The locals are requesting to speak with you," the officer told Jack. Jack nodded, and the screen changed to show a reptilian being with iridescent scales and 4 arms. "I am Speaker Thraz of Rantara," the being said. "Are you the humans we have heard about? The ones who defeated the Velari?" "We are," Jack confirmed. "We came to liberate your world, but it seems you're already free." Thraz made a gesture that might have been a smile. "When the Velari suddenly abandoned their bases, we thought it was a trick. Then we received transmissions from other worlds, speaking of humans who fought back against the conquerors and won. We have been waiting for you. We are not conquerors, Jack assured him. We come to invite Rantara to join a new alliance, the Galactic Peace Council. An alliance of equals, Emma added, for mutual protection and cooperation. Thraz bowed deeply. Rantara would be honored. Please come down to our world as friends. 2 days later, Jack stood with Emma on a hillside overlooking the capital city of Rantara. The Unity and its fleet hung in the sky above, no longer weapons of war but symbols of a new beginning. The Rantarans had welcomed them with celebration, already making preparations to join the council. Their representatives would travel back with the fleet to attend the first official council meeting. It's really over, Jack said quietly. The war, the liberation, all of it. Emma took his hand. Not over. Just changing into something new. In the valley below, humans mingled with Rantarans and representatives from other worlds. Children from different species played together, unconcerned with the differences between them. I think I'll take you up on that offer, Jack said. Exploration sounds good. I've had enough of war to last a lifetime. Several lifetimes, Emma agreed with a smile. As the twin suns of Rantara began to set, painting the sky in shades of purple and gold, Jack thought about the journey that had brought them here. From the ashes of a devastated Earth to the birth of a new galactic community. They hit Earth first, he said softly. Emma squeezed his hand. And we made sure no one would fight a war again. Around them, the sounds of celebration rose into the alien sky, songs of freedom, of friendship, and of peace. A peace built not on conquest or fear, but on cooperation and respect. In the darkest moment of human history, humanity had found its greatest strength. And in doing so, they had changed the destiny of not just their own world, but of an entire galaxy.